Exciting episode of Realities May Vary, the podcast that says and does whatever it wants because you ain't the boss of us. I'm Brian Noonan. With me, as always, the man, the myth, the newly employed legend, Cody Gough.
Tis me. And boy, we have a show. We actually have a guest tonight.
Yeah, an exciting guest. An old friend of the show is back.
Yes, a Food Network star, television star, and local pizza celebrity.
Pizziola, I think, is what they call them now.
Is it?
I think so. I saw that a lot. Hi, Cindy.
We'll talk about that with our special guest. You know him. I know him. Brian knows him. Other people know him.
And if you don't know him, you will know him.
But I forget his name, so.
You forget John Carruthers' name?
No.
All right.
Wow. He's at UT Chicago. Actually, I think he changed his handle.
Yes, it's at Nachos and Lager.
At Nachos and Lager, even better. There you go. So at Nachos
branding.
and Lager.
So you're going all the way across.
I only speak Twitter. I don't remember his real name. It's got to be that.
He's going to be happy to hear that.
No, John C. Ruthers. He's the man. Brian's also going to talk about some potty issues for some reason.
No, not potty issues. The actual toilet. I'm having problems with an actual toilet.
A toilet is a potty.
Right, but I'm not having any problems going potty.
Well, I didn't say you did. I just said potty issues.
Okay.
I was technically right.
Don't get me started. I've had a rough 2 hours already.
Our realities may vary, Brian.
Yes, our realities may vary.
You got something in your mouth, like right there. And so, inside joke. Spring break. He's on spring break. Look at that.
Woo-hoo.
And I am not on spring break. I am going to talk about the storm system, weather systems that have happened because some stuff happened in my life related to that. So a lot to get to. My quick check-in is my birthday is tomorrow. So I have nothing happened in the last week. It's only upcoming week that I have a birthday. I don't know what my wife has planned for it. I insisted she do nothing. She's going to do something anyway. And it's going to be fun, but I'm looking forward to that. And then I don't know. I was very social last week, Brian. My cousin was in town, got dinner with him.
Wow.
One of my other friends was in town, went to Pequod's all the way in Chicago, dinner with him. Saw you and Saw you and our lovely colleague Roger Badish on Saturday. It was a blast. So yeah, man, I'm socialized out. I basically had things to say.
All right. Well, I'll check in quick. Cody's birthday's tomorrow. My birthday's today. Don't make a big deal out of it. I also told my wife and daughter to do nothing about it, but they did. I'm very grateful. If we have some time later, I will tell you about that. But I don't want to keep our guest waiting because our guest is a man who has things to do. He's not only working in the beer industry, he is also an entrepreneur. He is a man who gives back to his community. He is a pizziola, as I've learned. That is a fancy word for guy who makes pizzas. He is the founder of Crust Fun Pizza. Good friend of ours, John Carruthers, is here, fresh off his appearance on Chopped on the Food Network. John, good to see you, first of all. Thanks for coming on tonight.
Thanks for having me. Good to see you guys.
Congratulations on all the success with Crust Fun Pizza leading up to you being on television.
Yeah, it was wild.
That's crazy. So for those who don't know, give us a quick background of Crust Fun Pizza, because it's grown exponentially since you started it.
Sure. Crust Fun Pizza was my pandemic thing, right? We all had a thing. It was either pizza or fetal position for me, and I picked pizza just because everybody needs to eat. And I started making pizza every Friday for my kids, and it got to the point where it was pretty good. And I thought, hey, maybe I could sell this on the sly, like double underline, because the tamale guy had just gotten Karen'd in the West Loop. That's what we're gonna do. Fast forward, we've gotten some attention, and last summer I got a message from the Food Network saying, hey, maybe, and a few maybes and okays later, been on Chopped.
All right, so you glossed over a lot. I'm going to fill in a couple blanks, and you please correct me when I'm wrong. So, yes, you started making pizzas, and then you decided you were going to sell them on the slide, but sell them is not really accurate, in my opinion, because you do receive money for these pizzas, but you don't set a price.
Oh, I actually don't receive money either.
Well, right. And the money doesn't come to you. The money passes through you to local charities.
Around me. They
Oh, it
make
goes
the
right
donation
around you.
to the charity.
all right. See,
So you
so
get a
you
pizza
never
and a
see
little bit
any
of a
dough.
write-off. Mm-mm. Oh, I like what you did there.
You never said, yeah, listen, I've been doing this for a while. I'm not, it's not my first podcast. So all the money for these pizzas goes to a charity, and you pick different charities every month, correct?
Yeah, we've got different ones, sometimes depending on what month it is, sometimes depending on someone new that I've worked with at Revolution or elsewhere, sometimes just depending on something that looks cool. And sometimes we'll bring our favorite ones back, like Black Club Chicago, never gone for too long.
Very nice. And the people come and they bid on these pizzas. And every month, people need to follow you on Twitter at Nachos and Lager, on Instagram, Nachos and Lager. Nachosandlager.com is the big website, but follow you on social media because that's where you announce when the bidding will begin, what the pizzas are for the month, and then somehow the pizza just magically appears in an alley, which doesn't sound appetizing, but proves to be very appetizing.
Yeah. Me, you have an agreement. State of Illinois, County of Cook, it's got no business there.
No. What are they going to be patrolling in alleys for pizza? We got bigger fish to fry.
So
like illegal fish fries.
Oh man, I'd do a food swap with one of those.
So when this all started during the pandemic, and it grew, and you even published a book, Pizza for Everyone.
Yes, it was our attempt to do a church cookbook, except for the devotional was to the Most High Pizza.
Yes.
So
very
spiral
nice.
bound, black and white, just very old school recipes from the community kind of vibe. And all the money from that went to all these same organizations, minus printing cost. You can't print your own book for free. It's wild.
No, but that's all right. That people understand that. They go, okay, somebody's got to pay for the books to be printed. All the rest of the money is going to go to charity. You also, those beautiful orange hats like you're wearing, mine is up there. I was repping my, home opener today. So that's why. But so you've done all kinds of things. It's been very successful. So how does the Food Network get your name? Do you say to yourself, because I know you're a very boastful guy. You're a guy who's full of himself all the time.
Oh, all the time.
So you were probably all puffed up, and you approached the Food Network and said, listen, is anybody else making pizzas for charity in an alley?
No, I just faxed them page after page of my name, but like the Shining style where it's all different. So you think it's different pages.
Okay.
Yeah. Eventually it was like, if you want to serve someone legal notice, you got to talk to them. Foot in the door, man.
How did you come to the attention of the Food Network? Because that's a big deal.
I honestly have no idea, and I don't. And I
really
don't. Well, here's the thing. So the first message I got, they reached out, and it was like a Instagram DM or something, and it was, hey, I'm so and so with the Food Network, and like it was a legit account, not one of those Instagram things that you get.
Right.
And I was like, oh, that's funny. And I turned to my wife because we were in the hospital about to have the third kid, and she's like, not now. And then went through the whole new parent fog. Like I'd sent a message back like, oh yeah, maybe let's talk. Went through the new parent fog. A couple weeks later, I got an email that led to a little bit of back and forth over email, a little back and forth over Zoom. And eventually they cast me in the show.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it was cool. But I don't know. I mean, I was talking to the other contestants on the show, the other chef, the three chefs.
Yes.
But I was, I would never classify myself that. But
they called you chef, so you're a chef.
Force a habit, Like, if someone ever tell you to enjoy the movie and you say you too, and then you just slink away.
Okay.
No, but they said that they kind of reached out to everybody on Pizza Instagram, which, if my For You feed is to be believed, is a vast and unending universe. So I don't know. I got lucky. I'm good at being loud. One of those things.
Well, you also have a different story. I mean, you went up against. I thought the stories of the other three contestants were all pretty interesting. And they all have that human element, which, we all know TV, that's what they're looking for. And you definitely had that. So once you have reached out to that, they've talked to you, everybody's like, okay, we want to put you on the show. Walk us through what's going on, because it seems like on Chopped, everything obviously is very truncated. we're only seeing a few minutes. It had to be like, what was it like when you met these other contestants and you realized some of these guys have restaurants and they're doing this all the time? I can't remember what the female chef, what her deal was.
Miriam Weiskin, yeah. She had started out of her apartment, I think pandemic era too, but she had been for a while cooking different pizza pop-ups. I mean, she has a well-established network of places that she goes and in the boroughs.
Okay.
But gosh, no, I mean, I showed up. First of all, it's like 5:30 in the morning.
Oh, jeez.
I had not slept the night before because I knew what I was going there to do. And I show up and we just start talking, and I'm like, oh, like I'm the guy, I'm the chum here this morning. But like, what can you do at that point? You sit and you take the free Red Bull they give you, and you hope you live to see the next 20 minutes.
So now, you're a tavern style guy, and the chef from Philly was Detroit style, and the lady from New York, she did kind of I don't know what you call the style she did. It would look really good.
She does New York Neapolitan and grandma style. She's got that Brooklyn 3-finger death punch mastered. Mike Carter from Philly, just awesome dude, but he does Detroit, but he's also, I mean, like a chef. I mean, you can like loose on a regular episode of Chopped.
Yeah, he was all of them were cool. And what was the style? Listen, the other guy from New York, he was very stereotypical New York. His pizzas looked phenomenal.
Beautiful.
Yes, they were works of art. But I can't remember, what was it, Venetian style? What was his style?
No, and that was Rob Cervoni. He is running Taglio Pizza out of Long Island, and that is Roman style pizza.
Roman style pizza.
I don't know who said this, but I heard it once, and I always like kind of taking it to heart. Is that is just like a stained glass window of a pizza style. I mean, just absolutely beautiful. Like almost looks too amazing. Then you get to be like, oh, I get to eat that. I get to put my grubby paws on it. I mean, they have been blowing up on Long Island ever since the episode aired.
Oh, I can't imagine. Cody, you look like you want to jump in. Please do. Don't sit there quietly.
I have never had anything interesting to ask. No, I mean, congratulations. You've been on more food discovery brand television than me, and I worked there for 4 years. So I'm quite jealous, frankly.
I think it was Rob in the, there's like the green room stuff that then I'll tape. And before we went into this, he's like, I'm not nervous about the pizza. I don't even say I'm nervous. He's like, it's wild that I'm freaking out that there's a version of me that's going to live on Discovery Plus for forever.
You are immortalized there or on whatever streaming service they end up creating, Frankensteining with the Warner thing.
It's a real Ozymandias statue thing.
I have to imagine craft services at the Food Network are pretty good. Am I right or wrong?
I get outside catering. They are all business there.
Yeah, very nice. All right, so now you made all your pizzas throughout the show were tavern style. Is that? Do they say like, this is your style, John? We know this is what you make, so make it throughout. Or was that? Do you get to choose that? Like if you had decided in the entree thing to go wild and make another style, could you have?
I think we could have. There was one for each thing, but we were all just really trying to do what we did best. And I think anyone who would have tried to like grab another style would have been kind of going down with the ship. You know what I mean?
Right.
You're just like, dude, it's like a denial of service attack. You're just going down with the website.
All right. So you come out. How long do they actually give you? So you're doing an appetizer pizza.
Oh, no. So it was a long day, and we can talk about what they cut out.
Yes.
What they do not cut out is anything you don't see. There is no extra. There is a walk around the pantry just to make sure you know what to not trip over. You got to run behind and not in front. You can look at what's in the fridges, but there's 2 Sub-Zero fridges full of stuff. Like, unless you're an autodidact, I don't know how you're going to remember that. There's the pantry, so you can know about like grains, dried things, sweet things. But no, when you're seeing someone like flailing and about to stress ERP on Chop, that's because that's happening in real time. That clock doesn't stop. You start cooking right after you get that stuff out of the baskets, and it is an absolute wild trash fire nightmare. And I mean this in the most amazing way.
And there, you have no clue, right? What's in those baskets?
You have no clue. I sat there brief because you also have to sit there and like they get, reverse angles and B-roll and coverage and stuff. So you're sitting there with this basket that holds your fate, and you kind of got to just sit there with your hands on it, not opening it, not looking into it. And you just start to ponder, like, what if I, of all the mundane superpowers to have, could see through wicker?
This was a time for it to show itself.
But you know what? I'm not sure that an extra 2 minutes of panicking before having to cook would have helped me either. So,
So, what's the game plan? Because with not knowing what ingredients you have, how do you not just sit there for, I don't know, 3 minutes, 5 minutes going, all right, what am I going to do with this? Did you have like a basic game plan and then adapted to what was in the basket, or what'd you do?
yeah, so this is why it was really smart to bring different styles of pizza on the same thing, because we all have different hierarchies of things that define our pizza. Tavern style, it was sauce. So my game plan first is to get that sauce in the pan and get it cooking, because it's got to start to marry flavors. It's got to get a little cooked and seasoned flavor to it. And then you hope you don't leave it where it's burning anything, and you start running around like a absolute frantic person. And I know I gotta roll out my dough. Rob and Mike, they got to pan out their dough. Miriam's got to toss it. And we're all in the back of our heads like, that's the easy part, doing the stuff that your robot brain knows how to do.
Yeah.
But then your lizard brain starts to kick in, and you know what's over here, and you kind of remember what's over there in the pantry, and you're like, what can I do? And there's no lying to yourself. What can you accomplish? You can't look up anything online. You can't double check anything. It's really a test of what you know how to cook when like you are absolutely shitting your pants.
So what surprised you in the, because you did three rounds, right? Appetizer, main course, and then dessert pizza.
What surprised me?
You in that
for more than one round?
No, dude, I was so excited. I don't want to, because people can still probably catch it on reruns at the Food Network. So I don't know if you want to, if you want us to.
No. Let's talk around it. I was a humanities major, Brian. If those student loans were good for anything, it's not popping the narrative balloon before.
No, we don't want to do that. No. So what you open up this thing? There's cheese sticks was one of the things in the appetizers, right?
Yeah.
Like, what do you do with cheese sticks?
I mean, sometimes you throw a hanging slider to the guy from the Midwest. Like, that's okay. Well, the food. So, all right, you get a little pizza nerdy. I'm sorry if you're listening.
Please do.
Off here.
You're the man. You're the pizza man.
Pizza mozzarella for tavern style pizza is not the wet ball mozzarella, but it's also not the part skim mozzarella that bakes up like a skin like you see on the school pizza. You know the school pizza, Brian.
Right. I do know the school pizza. It is foul.
You need low moisture, full whole milk mozzarella, which is like you buy on a deli block. Like I buy deli blocks that I'm doing Crust Fund. But not a lot of grocery stores sell full fat mozzarella like that, because a lot of people just don't use it. So if you have to sub, what you can do is string cheese. String cheese is basically full fat mozzarella in little strings. And you know what goes inside of cheese sticks? String cheese. So I'm like, well, there's my mozzarella. I got a little crunchy fried bit. I'm looking at the anchovies. Anchovies are the easiest thing in the world. You throw that in the sauce for richness. I've got fish in my regular sauce, a funkier fish even. This is less confrontational. I believe this round had round 2 is the honeycomb. Here's the thing. Even the day of, so you record those kind of like behind the scenes. You're still in the chef's coat, but you're talking about it like it's happening to you.
Right.
That's not like right now. That's the end of your shooting day. And it is it's wild where it's like that like you forget what you cooked, you forget what ingredients were served up in front of you by the time that you're at the end of the day, and they hand you a printout because they know this, and they're like, that's your dish, and I'm like, oh, all right, that guy did pretty good.
Oh yeah, that was not bad.
But it's like, what are you gonna make with? So there was like the charcuterie cones, right?
Yes, the charcuterie cones.
A little crispy meat along some cheese. Like, come on, you got me there. Anchovies. Gosh, the big thing for me though was the carrots. I know a lot of people just want, some people use the greens, which was really smart. This was the lizard brain moment. This is the moment I'm most proud of in the entire show, which was like, I'm thinking of a flavor profile that goes everything over here. what do I think of? I think of giardiniera. Well, you can't make giardiniera in less than a week. Not if you really want it to be cool. But I started to think about like the hot sauce. You know, my friend from Belize turned me on to where it's like a little cooked and heavily vinegared, and you put a little shallot in there for richness. And I'm like, this can hit with some charred peppers, like all your favorite, like all the favorite stands on the Southwest side used to do. You know, it's like pepper right on the burner flame, like my friend Jesse taught me. Our friend Jesse.
Yeah.
You know, I was taking all these little bitty like pebbles from, you know, taking all these little bitty pebbles from all the food experiences I've had in Chicago and kind of making it into one sauce that tastes like giardiniera. And I mean, we can spoil the first round. I want to say I had a pretty good hand in saving my butt for fighting another day there.
Yeah. No, when you're working on your own, do you have any awareness of the other chefs, or are you? I mean, obviously you're focused on your own thing, but can you hear them? Is there anything where you're like, what's he doing?
Oh yeah, they're right next to you.
Yeah.
You're sharing a table with somebody, at least in the first round.
Okay.
And you have to, you know, if you're running to the pantry, you got to run behind them. You got to yell behind.
I heard you yell behind. Very professional.
People said, well, you got to do that.
No, I
I
know
feel like
you
if
do.
you don't, you know, and you take out a pan of something like a linebacker, you're the one who gets out. So they put me on the end so they would have an easy exit after the first round. So I ran that. But you know, I could hear some of them talking to me. The judges are talking about you, and you can kind of hear them. But like,
Okay.
I also, especially in the first round, cannot hear them because it is just the blood in my ears, just whoop, 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 and like just you know, absolutely freaking out. Like this is not only am I the least experienced cook of any of these three any of the other three fantastic pizza makers, but like I'm also just and also I'm on Chopped, and like if they're freaking out for being on Chopped, like imagine where I'm at.
Yeah, it had to be nerve-wracking. And is there a challenge cooking in somebody else's oven?
Usually, yes. But when it is the top of the line Food Network kitchens, I can stow my complaints that day.
Okay, so it worked out. And so now how, like, again, when we're watching the show, they have one piece of pizza is under a dome and they're going through, and walk us through or tell me what you were thinking as they come to you now, the three judges. Who are the judges? Because there was the one tattooed guy on the end. I wasn't sure who he was.
Oh yeah, that's Christian Petroni. He's from the Bronx. I mean, he's awesome. He came up, I think, through that Food Network star show.
Oh, okay.
And he was, I liked him. Like
Yeah.
I don't know why I did this. You two might be aware of the fact that because we know each other, I have a real big mouth sometimes. And you know, it came out in that sweater, you know, that one that looks like it's from that 100-year-old company that CBS Sunday Morning was on this week.
Right.
And you know, they weave the blankets in the desert. And I go, hey, can I have a Werther's original? And everyone heard me say it. And it's, you know, it's like for a second, you're like, you know how you ever had the feeling like I said the thing that went too far?
Oh, always. That's
it was like
my whole career. Yes.
And then he like threw his head back and laughed. I'm like, all right, this guy's good. But I'm like, that was a really low stakes, like Joe Pesci Goodfellas moment I had for a second.
Yeah. Like, oh. So what's going through your mind? You did your pizza, you pulled it out. How'd you feel about your appetizer pizza?
I mean, I felt like I didn't have enough time. But you know, it's also, you know, I'm rolling out the dough on the day, you know, usually at home. I cure it, like was featured in the New York Times. But you know, I roll it out, dock and everything, and you know, it's like, especially like there's not enough time on Chopped to do anything you want to 100%. That's why this is such a great test. It's like, it's, you know, like one of those professional exams where like you can't get 100% physically. So like, it's like, you know, how far can you throw the rock? But I felt pretty good. I wish I would have cut up some basil or something on top, you know, a little green. It had a little bit of a Midwestern color palette, but I was true to who I was.
That's you were on brand.
I'm glad I served the giardiniera on the side. It was nice and spicy, but not everyone likes that.
Right.
We're also lucky that one of the judges was Ann Kim, who has no problem with spice, and her compliment about she would buy that in a jar. I was like, well, if I got booted this round, I think that's something pretty fun to pack home with me in my suitcase.
It was even with some of the critiques, the less than glowing critiques, which everybody got. There was nobody went through it unscathed. But yeah, she seemed to really like a lot of your stuff, as did the guy from the Bronx.
I mean,
They
and
all
Tim,
did.
yeah, they're all
They
great. Like
Yeah,
people,
they all
go
seemed
like
cool.
Scott Conant mean. I'm like, no, not Scott Conant's mean. Scott Conant is a strict judge on a reality food cooking show, and he does that job great.
Yeah, it was very cool. So that was not the only time you were able to stand in front of the judges.
Indeed. And you know, the cool thing, a little behind the scenes. So you need
Yes.
4 plates of food, they say.
Okay.
Which is great for pizza. But they say, you know, you divide it up among 4 plates, you plate it like you want. If you fall short on one of those plates, one of those is going to go to the judges, because the best looking plate, it goes to that glamour shot.
Sure. Yeah.
So it's like, you better put out 4 real good plates of food, because your weakest is going to be one of the things that the judges give you.
How did, like, if you're making a dinner with a protein and a potato and a veg, you can plate it a certain way. Pizza, how is there a way to cut it other than cut the piece and put it on a plate?
Well, sure. I mean, you look at the
Okay,
whole,
well,
especially my kind of pizza, right? You look at the whole atlas, the neighborhood map of tavern style pizza. You got your little bitty corner piece,
Sure.
you got your corner adjacent guy, you got your kind of middle one with a little bit of a handle on the end. You got your middle piece, and I think that any pizza maker, tavern style pizza maker worth their salt, has to also stand by their middles.
Okay.
A little mix of everything for everybody.
Okay.
I am a corner adjacent guy, but there's all sorts of tastes out there. You don't want to be accused of middle erasure and then lose a judge.
Yeah, I'm not a, I'll eat the middle, but only after all the outside is gone.
Oh, you know, it's maybe you need a place that does the middles better.
Maybe I do. You know?
I've done a hard 180. I used to be anti-middle, and now I'm middle all the way.
But you know, if it's like steamy and soggy, if it's weighed down, like, I've had bad middles. Like, I'm not. I think it's the hardest part to nail.
Okay. How did your middles stack up?
Good enough, I guess.
Good enough. So then they moved to an entree pizza, and again, you're up against now there's 3 of you, and everybody's very qualified. And I'm trying to remember everything that came out. The honeycomb was in this one, and was that the one with the Kung Pao chicken?
Kung Pao, yeah, just a full takeout order, Kung Pao chicken. That was some wild stuff. The Lasanito kale and the bison hot dogs, or cured sausages. They're like bison brats, but they weren't. My initial thought, I sliced one open and I'm like, oh, maybe I can take this out and
like crumble it up, take the casing off and
treat it with some of those peppers. Yeah.
And
but no, this was like cooked and kind of cured. So that was a little 180. That's why I ended up tossing it in the Korean chili paste, the gochujang, frying the kale, because I've been frying kale for my vegan relatives for years.
Okay.
Honeycomb in the sauce. It was pretty good honeycomb. And I can never remember all 4 things at once.
Right. What'd you do with the
I turned it, I kind of separated it out and scattered it across. We did a little meat lovers kind of thing. You get your bison, you get your chicken, you get your peppers. And I was very proud of how that turned out. And then I finished everything on top. I married it with this chili oil. So
and it
came out of the oven.
Watching you make your sauces was amazing, because I was like, okay. Every time you did something, I was like, oh, look at that. Oh, that's very interesting. So I liked how you were doing that. And was there ever a moment when you opened the basket and were like, what am I going to do?
In the first one, it's like you're looking at that charcuterie cone and you're like, they gave me a mini basket in the basket.
But you didn't have to use all of that, right? Because that confused me when I first saw it. I was like, how are any of them going to use all that stuff in that little charcuterie cone?
Yeah, no, I used the braceola. I'm pretty sure I ate some of the braceola afterwards. Big fan. The dessert round, when they had little pizza muffins, like, it's weird. I was fine with the vegan pepperoni. I was the freeze-dried rings of pineapple, but will you give me a version of already pizza? Like, that's the thing that threw me there around it. I was like, dang.
Yeah, dessert. I mean, I've only seen dessert pizza at a couple places, and it's usually pretty basic. It's like a can of apple pie filling or cherry filling, and then some crumble on top. That's
if I was smart, I would have fried my dough, and it would have been just built on top of it with the rest of that stuff.
You love pineapple on pizza. Are
I
you?
love that's the one kind of pineapple. I have a pound of pineapple powder in my pantry for messing around with, like for little experiments and stuff. And
Yeah.
those stupid NASA rings were the one kind I had not worked with, and I think it showed.
Because I have made no secret that I'm not a pineapple on pizza guy, and
I
I
think
saw
even
that.
half the internet.
Yeah, I was like, oh no. What? But then I thought, this is right up John's alley. He loves using pineapple. This is gonna be perfect. I didn't realize that it was that weird freeze dried pineapple ring.
Well, it wasn't entirely. I mean, it was freeze dried, but it's not like T-1000 in the Terminator where you just freeze dry and then you can shatter it into dust. 'Cause that would have
been cool.
Goo is less so. Yeah, it was cool. And you know what? You want to talk about what they cut out? I got there, like I said, at 5:30 in the morning. By the time I was done my interviews and everything and cooking, I left at 9:45 at night. So what else is cut there is like a whole day of being fried.
Whoa.
So it was like by that time I'm like, you know what? I am so happy. Like I cooked my dishes and I am gone. And like I was in Zen mode. In fact, I was still amped. I didn't sleep the night before.
Right.
I mentioned this, but like not only did I not sleep the night before, one time when I got to sleep, I had nightmares that I was on a cocktail show on Food Network and I couldn't find the liquor.
Oh no, that would not be good.
That's wild. I didn't drink the night before. I took a long walk around Central Park. I'm like, I'm gonna have a good boy night's sleep, and life, my brain.
Yeah, the brains don't like to do what we want them to do sometimes. I did see that you found a couple nice pubs while you were in New York.
Oh my gosh, I know. I owe him 1,000 apologies. My friend from ESPN, he goes, you got to go to this place, and I'm like, he's like, it's pretty near where you're staying. And I'm like, I'm gonna go to a bar in Times Square. He's like, trust me, I know the kind of bar you like. I went. It is one of America's finest dive bars. Every city should have a dive bar like this. It used to be owned by a boxer. His son owns it now. I was a cornerman. It is an absolute dive, priced like a dive. It is full of happy neighborhood people there. I watched. It was Bears Patriots night. I watched the Bears Patriots game, what was left of it, and had a few drinks. I think I bought a round for people that I met, and the bill was like $23 at the end. Like that kind of place.
Wow, that is for New York. That is for anywhere. That's crazy.
In Times Square? In Times Square. What's the name of the place?
Jimmy's Corner.
Jimmy's
It is one of America's finest bars.
Nice.
Very nice. Look at that. Now, so you've had to keep this secret for all this time.
Since October.
Have you, well, that had to be rough. I'm sure you were able to tell, your home folks.
Oh, yeah.
But,
yeah. Can't come home and clam up about it and think
you got to tell them what's happening
or something.
Now, you joked about worried about going past the first round. Is that humble, false humility, or was there really a point when you were like looking at the competition and thinking, yeah, I'm done?
Oh, I didn't think I was done. I thought I have to absolutely walk the tightrope of, delivering exactly what I set out to do. But no, I mean, that show, Food TV, is full of people who will happily go into the first round boasting about how hard they're going to win and then just absolutely skid out. It's half of the fun of watching Food TV.
Exactly. No, I love it. I love it when somebody is. That's why I kind of thought the guy from Long Island was going to be out, because he was full of bluster, just like as you would expect somebody from Long Island to do.
I do believe he got the Long Island edit. Rob is a fine human being and a really nice pizza maker.
Oh, he didn't seem like a jerk. He just seemed like a guy from Long Island. He was very Long Island. Yes, he was everything. If I said, there's a pizza maker from Long Island, you could go to Central Casting and bring Rob out. And again, his pizzas looked. Watching that show, I had to get pizza Friday night, because I watched it on Thursday, and Debbie and I were both watching it while we were having dinner, and I was like, we need to get pizza, because there was everybody's pizza looked great. I know the burrata threw off, and I forget the woman's name again, but she tried to throw a burrata on right at the end, and it's always like people who know what they're doing, like the four of you, recognize a mistake pretty quick. And in her exit interview, she was like, yeah, I shouldn't I shouldn't have done that burrata because it just kind of blooped all over the pizza.
Yeah, I mean, you got to do something. I think it's probably Miriam.
Miriam, yes.
I think that it's still better to go out trying something than go out going, well, rats.
Yeah, I think if they went, well, you overshot, sounds better than why didn't you use cheese? This is, this pizza is boring.
I think the ultimate American dream, chopped and elsewhere, is to go out on a rocket made of your own hubris and then leave it to fate.
And it did. So now, do you think will there be more TV in the offing?
Oh, I have no idea. Would you want to hear another hour of that?
I would want to see. I would want to see Alley Pizza. I think that would be a fine documentary.
I mean, if Guy wants to roll through the alley in a big open top convertible, probably
nothing says dive more than eating pizza surrounded by vermin in an alley.
Yeah, just bring some lights for night shooting, and also those are my family and friends, Brian.
Well, they're all very nice, but I got to call it like I see it, John. That's just the way it goes. But so that this one was very exciting. Now, I'm sure, like you said, Rob's restaurant has gotten a huge boost. I'm sure the interest in Crust Fun Pizza has exploded. So what's next for you in Crust Fun Pizza?
Oh, I can't. I mean, we threw that fundraiser on Tuesday night of the airing to raise some money. I didn't quite get the $10,000 on the show, but I got $8,300 raised from that event last Tuesday.
Nice.
A big to do. What I'm looking forward to in April is going back to the alley and selling some pizzas the old-fashioned way for next month.
There you go. And have you already decided who will benefit from April's pizzas?
Not sure yet. We will wait and see.
And for those who don't know, like I said earlier, you follow John on social media at Nachos and Lager on Twitter and Instagram. And tell us, one, how do you decide what you're going to make? Because every month there's some variety in the pizzas. It's not like I'm going to make a pepperoni pizza, because you make a fine cup and char pepperoni pizza, but it's, every month you have different ones. How do you decide? Is it just what you're experimenting with or what people have asked for?
Look, I can give you the answer that I would give to another food TV station, which is I really look for the flavors that are speaking to me that month, or I find something really great and in season, or I talk to a local producer.
Wow.
All these things have been true in the past, but let me give you the real skinny on how most months are made.
Okay.
I will be doing something completely unrelated to pizza, and I will think of a really stupid name in the back of my head, and I will reverse engineer a pizza that makes sense for that name. Okay. So we redid the gym shoe pizza for that party on Tuesday, and that's because I had been listening to Mike and the Mechanics the other week, and I was like, hey, I should name a pizza All I Need Is a Miracle, All I Need Is Shoe, and that's how that pizza got made.
Okay.
Yes. It has some great Southside gym shoe flavor. It has a delightful tzatziki with sumac that I adore. It has my friend Jay West's mild sauce, which is the best recipe, nails it. But it starts with the name a lot of times.
Can I ask what Southside gym shoe flavor is? Is that it in umami?
Oh, you've never had a gym shoe? And you're a Sox fan, Brian.
No, I've never had a gym shoe.
Oh, it's this.
I've had a horseshoe down in Springfield.
Whole different thing, but also delicious. Gym shoe is a Southside sub thing. And it's basically you take all the elements of what you can get at a Southside sub shop and you put it on one thing. You griddle the meats, corned beef, roast beef, gyro meat. You griddle it up with onions. You put it on a roll with mustard, mayonnaise, sometimes ketchup for some people. There's lettuce, tomatoes, giardiniera, tzatziki sauce, mild sauce. Gosh, I'm missing something. But basically everything from the Southside. Cheese, obviously.
Okay.
Griddle it up, slip it in a roll. This thing comes out like the size of like a pretty decent sized puppy mill puppy. And it is delicious. It is packed full of flavor. Nobody on the north side makes it except for one place. I believe it's on Devon Avenue that I haven't tried. But yeah, go Stony Subs on Ashland on the south side. Get a gym shoe. It is worth it.
All right, I'll go check that out.
Monica Hagen, WBEZ, they did like a whole show on like the gym shoe sandwich, and they never got to
Really?
the bottom of the name, but they had some theories, and they have a great history of a really wonderful culinary treasure that does not get the same hype as some of the things on the north side of town.
Wow. All right, I got to try that out. So,
And a
have you
JIM shoe?
the JIM, not the gym. Like I went to the gym.
Well, I think it's kind of tongue in cheek. Some places don't get the joke, and they do spell it that way. What are you gonna do?
Listen, I don't get any jokes, John. I just, when it comes to eating, I just want to get my food. I don't need it to be cute and engaging mentally. I just need it to satisfy me and make me
cute
feel
enough
good.
already, Brian.
Well, thank you. So, all right. Well, now I'm perplexed.
Speaking of
Cody,
following
jump
you
in.
on social media, John, I saw some pictures of obviously the episode in the Revolution Tap Room. So are people recognizing you on the street now? Are you like super local celebrity? I think people go to pick up their pizza. Are you like, oh, I saw you on TV?
Well, that aired last week. I had a couple days in the office, and then over the weekend I got COVID, so I'm not out until next week. So
no,
people have to be subjected to me.
Oh, do you blame? Well, no, you were in New York in October, so. Oh no,
I don't blame it. I have 3 kids. Germs are coming in from everywhere.
That's
true. Such is life.
That's true, man. Oh man, well that's no good.
How
are you going to enjoy your celebrity? Well, you let it percolate a little bit. Build up that. Where in the world is John Carruthers? Nobody's seen him since the airing.
I think if I took a moment and enjoyed my celebrity, I think my wife's eyes might roll out of her head, and she would be right to do so.
You looked good on TV. I got to tell you, it was odd a couple times seeing you without a hat. You're a guy like our good friend Craig Collins, who I never see without a hat.
I'm all about modesty. You got to leave something to the imagination, even in these modern times.
Well, what's going on under there that you have to be modest about?
Regular big old head.
Okay. It's just like mine. It's actually taller than mine usually. If he takes it off, it just like springs up. So
wow.
Yeah.
You got a kid and play going on under there?
It's just wiry Scottish horsehair, same as any other person.
But you looked good. You sounded good. You didn't seem, if you were at all nervous or apprehensive, it didn't come across on camera. You looked like you'd been there before.
It was one of those things like, when you're riding a roller coaster as a kid and you are just like freaking out in the line and when they're strapping you in and when the thing's climbing. And then the minute you're going down, it's like, this is the greatest moment of my life. It was like that. I knew that I was a little freaked out when we were in the green room and someone's like, all right, so who do you think is going to win?
Oh, no.
And the PA goes, oh, maybe the quiet guy. And he's pointing to me. And I'm like, oh, God, if I'm the quiet guy, I am seriously freaked out right now.
Oh, yeah. You have messed up your entire mojo. Your brand is not the quiet guy.
But yeah, I mean, the thing flips on and like that timer stops for nothing. Cut myself in the first round. Didn't stop.
Did you really?
Yeah, just with a peeler. Like it was but you can't be bleeding on food. Can't be bleeding on food. So I lost a couple minutes just, getting it. You got they get a medic and they go, whoop, looks good. Inspector station, good. But yeah, once it starts, like you.
Oh, they didn't pause everything while you were at the medic. It was like you're just missing out.
I could have dug my head in the deep fryer and they would have been like, ooh, tough roll for John over there. Let's see what he's doing.
Why would you do that?
Maybe I'd battered it first.
Oh, well, all right. It's a blooming
You never been served
head.
a Scotch egg death mask?
That would be nice. I just come up and peel your face, dip you in some nice sauce.
Yeah.
Be delicious. Do you get any feedback like after it's over, when the whole show is done and the 4 of you are just chilling and the judges do they come up after and give you any other feedback, or is what we saw on camera the only stuff they said to you?
Oh no, it was really all that was on camera. The contestants all talk to each other backstage. Excuse me. But the judges, they just are in a whole separate area and stuff. And I'm pretty sure they leave right after because they don't have to do a whole lot extra. I did run into Chris on the way out. I was the judge on the right. And he high-fived me. He was like, hey, great job today, man. And I was like, thanks, buddy.
That's cool.
Nice. Yeah, he was cool. No, I can't wait to get to Pizzeria Lola, which is Ann Kim's place in Minneapolis one day because she makes some very fine pizza.
Does she?
And I would love to be like, hey, remember that time you sat in judgment of me? That was pretty fun.
Maybe you bring her a bottle of Giardinera when you're going up to visit.
I don't see any way I can't.
Yeah, that would be, that would be silly. Was I right before as I was introducing you? The Brad kept calling pizziola. Is that what we call pizza makers?
I think so. If they don't look like me and have my background, yes.
All right. So we just call you a guy who makes good pizza.
I was still freaked out being called chef in every communication up to and including the show. Pizzaiolo is 2 bridges too far.
We're going to start. We should refrain from calling you chef?
I would just think that, well, yes, obviously.
Okay.
I would think that the next tavern pizza person who gets called Pizzaiolo will be equally as puzzled.
Well, it was very, very exciting for us to watch you. I can't imagine it was only a fraction of how exciting it must have been for you to be on there. So April, you're going to be doing another Crust Fund drive.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard rumors that there may be another book in the offing.
There just might be. This summer might be called Super Pizza World. Be another continuing adventure in the Pizza Church Cookbook universe.
Very nice. Yeah, it's reading those recipes and reading in the first book. There's no lack of imagination and no lack of desire for people to make their own pizza. One, because pizza's gotten really expensive to buy at a pizza place, but also because there's something about making it yourself and creating it. Have your kids tired of Friday pizza night, or are they still very jazzed that Dad's making pizza every Friday?
Oh no, they love doing that. The only fights these days on Fridays are about the movie selection.
Okay.
Do
you acquiesce to them?
Go Star Wars. Oh no. They pick. It's just I have more than one kid, so there's never a choice.
Oh, that's true. That's true. They don't want. Well, the baby's not really picking yet, right?
Give her time.
Yeah, then you'll have three opinions, but then you just sit back with your pizza and maybe an adult beverage, and let them fight it out. Thunderdome.
That's how I prefer my pizza. And my child fights.
Throw a couple pieces of paper with some suggestions. Let the kids Thunderdome it, and then whoever brings you the piece of paper, that's the movie you watch.
Can I tell you the most rewarding personally moment?
Yes.
And this will only register with some of your audience, but we watch Star Wars in number order, So start with those Windows screensaver nightmares, and you get to the middle there. And I was worried, right? Because those first 3 are made for kids and have very attention span for kids kind of things.
Right.
I'm like, are they going to hate it when this flips over to the original Star Wars, the thing that actually opened my heart to sci-fi? And they loved it. And they loved The Empire Strikes Back. And they were like, oh, it's over. And then they loved Return of the Jedi because, come on, we all love Ewoks and Monster Monsters. And that was very cool. They were like, kind of bored with the first 3, Dad. Love Princess Leia. Let's keep going. And I'm like, oh, phew.
Okay.
Hope for the youth.
How did they feel about Jar Jar Binks?
I don't think they brought him up once afterwards, which
Good.
honestly, as a society, we could have been healthier if we had done that.
Why did you decide to go chronological?
I'd always wondered what it would be like because, it's like we all got them, we all got 1, 2, 3 foisted on us years down the line. And we already knew the whole story of Star Wars, right?
Right.
We didn't need to add to it. But I was like, you know what? For kids, you could start watching them in whatever order. So I'm like, we're going to do number order. But they didn't.
There you go.
And was going to be Darth Vader. Sorry for the spoiler.
Really?
And they knew kind of who Darth Vader was because that's like a pop culture huh?
Right.
But they were like Anakin and Darth Vader, and it was like, But then also, you don't get the surprise that you get during Empire, right?
Right.
When Luke finds out. Still pretty cool, though. I defend it. Also, not for nothing, if you're committing to the full marathon watch, you're getting the first 3 out of the way.
That's probably, that's bad.
So much. Oh, our transmission is broken. We need to win a pod race with CGI Greg Proops, and it's like, man, I got no hate for Jake Lloyd, but I'm looking at my watch. I'm like, how long have we been on this stupid planet? It takes forever. It's like when you watch too many episodes of a serial that takes too long to go, and you're like, I'm not sticking with this show. It's like, I could have left the theater, and someone's like, hey, did you catch episode 2 of Star Wars? It really picks up. I'm like, nah, I'm done with it.
Yeah. That's unfortunate. That's how I was after Jar Jar. I was like, I'm sorry, I'm out. And for that reason, I've been chopped.
I never made it to 9 in the new trilogy. Like after 8, I was just like, what the hell is this? I don't care
Oh
anymore.
no! Can you schedule a separate episode where we're gonna have words?
Yes, we could have a defending your Star Wars.
We
no.
finally had the Star Wars where more than 12 people in the universe exist, and everyone was like, "Yeah."
Wait a minute, they don't all look the same. We don't like this at all. Was that the last one with that uproar?
So here's the thing: people either hated 8 or hated 9, and it's like they kind of got a little something for everybody at the end there. Still love the last 3 better than the first 3 by a country mile.
Now, have you then gone on to like Rogue One, a Star Wars story, and all these ancillary ones?
Rogue One is like in the top echelon of Star Wars things for me.
Yeah,
I have not finished Andor yet, but it is dynamite so far. And still catching up on Mando. Didn't like Boba Fett. Didn't like Obi-Wan, but haven't finished either of them either.
I gotta watch. I watched season 1 of The Mandalorian. And I liked it.
It's
so
really
good. I gotta watch
Space
season
Western.
2.
That's all we ever wanted.
That's it.
Like
it's
everything should be dusty and gross. You should be watching it, thinking, how wonderful that I live on a planet where you could just buy wet wipes and have them around.
Yes. No, that's what I liked about it. It had that Clint Eastwood Man with No Name kind of Western vibe to it, where he was just in there. What's next then? What's the next sci-fi saga that you will hopefully turn the kids onto? Because they responded very well to this.
I don't know. Like, part of me is like Dune, and I'm like, but it's legal now in Illinois, and I'm not sure if I want them doing that.
Right.
Sometimes you can't. It's like we give George Lucas crap, but it's hard to pick something that is both as user friendly and as deep to kind of fall into if you want to become a super dork about it.
Now, are you a fantasy guy or just science fiction? Like with the Lord of the Rings movies, those are very long though.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, give me an indoor kid hobby. I had it at one point.
Okay, so that'll do it. Now, have the older ones shown any interest in following in your pizza making footsteps? I know they help you on Fridays sometimes.
Yeah,
but are they curing the dough? Are they rolling things out?
So
are they farm to table sourcing some of your ingredients?
My daughter wrote a menu and opened a restaurant. Just this last week.
Very nice.
She made something with chocolate and marshmallows and peanut butter, all kind of globbed together. And she's like, She tried it. She said, I think I'm going to close early today.
That's a good business model. This is awful. I'm not opening. So what is she trying to, what is her food of choice for the restaurant?
She had like things she can make, like a peanut butter sandwich, toast, bananas. Sometimes things from one preparation ended up in another. And I'm like, that's a good way to fill out a menu, honey.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Well, then she requested pizza dough for the next time she wants to open. So I'm like, she thinking pizza, or she's thinking like garlic knots? Is she thinking like little fried pretzel nuggets? Like we might have a genius on our hands.
This could be the thing. I like that all of you have side hustles, even the children. Don't let them just sit around watching Star Wars all day. They get out there and start making some dough, some food.
No, they can sit around watching TV all day too. Don't underestimate them.
No, I listen. Who couldn't? It would be lovely. Well, I know you're ill. I don't want to keep you too much longer, but you're welcome to stay. But I don't want you to feel you have to stay. But
I highly recommend second COVID over first COVID. A+.
I have not had second COVID. First was not bad for me though.
Maybe not.
First was not. I did not have a good time with my first at all. It was like, should I go to the hospital or should I just die here? Like it didn't feel good. I really did think about going to the hospital the first like 24 hours. Then I was like, I can breathe again. That's good. It's pretty rough.
We got lucky. The three of us, we all got our first COVID at different times, but it was all thankfully semi-mild. Do the oldest kids go like to daycare or school yet? Is the oldest one?
I got 2 kids in CPS. I got 1 kid in daycare. It's a wonder that I'm not in an iron lung.
Yeah, I was going to say, once the kids go out in public.
Sort of viruses, there's the grunge, you toughen yourself up when you got kids in school. It's like building up blackened layers on the outside of a cast iron,
I say this all the time. Little kids are disgusting. I love them, but they're hygienically challenged. That's what I mean by disgusting. Not
they're setting. That's why the pig pen was the really only honest kid in Charlie Brown.
Yes. And we have, like in my class, there is a literal pig pen. He comes to school clean. And honest to God, by lunchtime, his arms and hands are covered with filth. There's stuff all over. I'm like, I say to the co-teacher, I'm like, how did he get so dirty? She's like, I don't know. He just attracts filth.
Just crawling around in the vents like John.
Oh my God. And they're sneezing and coughing right in your face. And it's just, there's so much snot and spittle flying around. I'm surprised every kid isn't in some sort of iron lung or medical, treatment center.
It's just bulletproof. Horrifying. They're all Hugh Jackman as Wolverine.
Yeah. They just get sicker and sicker and sicker. Now, John, you're a Chicago resident, as am I. Did you vote for? I'm not asking who you voted for, but did you cast your vote for mayor?
Of course I voted for mayor. Voting for mayor is your ticket for 4 years of complaining about whoever's in charge.
I voted for the person I thought was going to lose because I didn't care for either candidate. So I voted for the one that I thought was going to lose so that I do have those 4 years to just rail against the establishment. And that's probably not the best way to vote.
My alderman is unopposed, and I like him. So it's like it lost some of the drama. For a while, I was really good at voting against alder people, and usually they were on their way out. So, personally, I'd be like, hey, good job, you.
Our alderman, I voted for our current alderman because every time we've had to contact the office, whether it was for a speed bump on our street that, had become basically a hole or other stuff, they got it done right away. So that was easy. I voted for somebody that I've actually had experience doing a good job. For mayor, I was like, I don't like either one of you. So I'll vote for you because I don't think you're going to win. And then I become
a pincushion of an office, that mayor.
Jeez, it is just.
It's so quaint. You guys are voting for nice positions like mayor. Like out here in the burbs, we have a hotly contested election for the library board.
Really?
It is heating up.
You got one of those gross things with the weirdos. With the don't do that.
Wait, a gross thing with weirdos? That doesn't narrow it down.
No, people who get passionate about running for the library board don't do it because they love books.
Right. Yeah. Why are they? What's
Cody was going to talk about how out in the hinterlands they're voting for town selectmen like it's the beginning of a Stephen King novel.
What's the big ruckus over the library board?
Oh, they moved to it. They built a new building. The property was valued at like $700,000, but the city paid like $3 million for it. And it's like, why did they let that happen? It's too late now.
Where do you live that a library-sized piece of property is no, never mind. See, we're getting sucked into it right now.
Yeah, it's a horrible
juicy.
Suburban vortex.
It's juicy out here. I got the local newspaper over there, the Lombardian, a Lombard paper for Lombard people. That's the tagline.
That actually sounds like a much more innocent version of what I had in my head with what people are trying to do with the libraries around certain parts of the country these days. So
well, there's also that going on, John. He didn't mention that. They're bringing in giant burn pits around every library too. So
for books, for just anything Mark Twain wrote. I mean, he's just off limits, right? At this point.
Listen, we got to get rid of any thought that challenges anything.
We should have canceled him centuries ago.
I have been trying to get a hop on pop banned since my kids slipped one of my discs out of alignment.
Fair. Okay.
That was really bad. I'm sorry, that was just bad. Okay.
That was awesome.
No,
I'm working on getting pop.
Trust me, I've stolen it already.
I'm just trying to get
C- material is what I brought you.
No, it's late. We don't expect that. Listen, you went above a D. We're happy you passed. So it's
that kind of self-regard that gets you on food television in the first place.
No, it's throwing those tavern style pizzas around nonstop. Let me give you another plug while we're still talking. Follow John, read it on the screen or listen to me say it. Nachos and Lager, Instagram, Twitter, it's all there. Mike says he gets to vote for fire trustee. I don't even know what that means.
Mike, if I can give you one piece of political advice, is never trust fire.
That is good advice.
I'm doubling down now. Advice. This next 30 minutes is going to be a big Neil hamburger routine.
John, all right, let's get off pizza for a minute. Since you decided to stay, I know you're very handy in the kitchen. Are you handy in the bathroom?
I can point at where it's leaking and go, we should call someone for that.
Okay, I've been trying. My hands are coated with black. You can't see it. My fingernails are all cut like I'm a working man, like I'm a guy who has a real job. I look like I've been out laboring all day, which everybody knows is false. But I'm trying to replace my ball cock assembly in my toilet, and that is not.
I gotta go.
Cody, that's what it says on the box. That's I bought it at Home Depot. I'm not making this up, but I can't. So I got the tank drained. Everything's good. I got the old one out, but now I'm at the bottom where the plastic threads come through the tank, and a plastic nut goes up there to hold it tight on the tank. And I got it to a certain point, and now the plastic. I didn't realize. I don't know how. The plastic threads are stripped, so I can't get it down. So I'm not sure if I'm going to have to blow up the toilet, if I'm going to have to saw through it, if I'm going to have to get a Sawzall or a flamethrower or something just to get that plastic out.
I think you got to burn the place down for the insurance money.
Yep.
That's funny because you're mentioning that. And I'm like, oh, the thread. I had a leak from the threads. Once is like the one thing I've ever been able to fix.
The thread, no, if I've got the plumber's tape. If it's just leaking, I can plumber's tape stuff. It's fantastic. But I can't, I'm in there with 2 wrenches trying to go opposite directions. Plus, I'm always bad because I say in my head, righty tighty, lefty loosey. And when it's something like that, a lot of times it's like righty loosey, lefty tighty. And I'm like, math and geometry were never my strong suits.
My first place that I owned and thus could not pawn stuff off on a friend of the landlord. It was a place built in 2008.
Okay.
Get that idea. So top of the line finishes. So like, a fly-by-night construction company made a bunch of condos. And we had bought from whatever poor soul had fled the country to avoid paying it. And so they had these top of the line fixtures, which was apparently shorthand for real weird custom stuff that never became the standard, and they don't make the parts anymore. So I got pretty good at fixing these little parts of the toilet that you just couldn't buy anymore.
Oh no.
Yeah, I was the version of those mechanics in Havana who keep those 54 cars running because of, and I'd paint flames on the side and be like, look at my baby, feel it purr.
Right. Your toilet had flames on it?
Oh yeah.
That's sweet.
Yeah.
I would feel energized. I would never want to get off. I'd be in there making all kinds of sounds, not potty sounds, but race car sounds.
But everything was a weird shape. Everything was an off standard size. It's like you'd take a piece to like a hardware store, and they'd be like, "Where did you? What Soviet satellite country that no longer exists sold you this toilet?"
Yeah, that's never good. Or when you move into a place and the previous owner was a handyman, a fix-it guy, and then the first thing goes wrong, and somebody comes to look at it and goes, "Oh my God, you're lucky this place hasn't burned down. We got to redo all this wiring."
Oh yeah, if you give me 2 houses, you say you choose between the house from the fix-it guy and the house from the guy who made his family money on asbestos. I might pick asbestos guy.
Yeah, because worse you're going to get is cancer. You're not going to go bankrupt.
Our previous owner was really nice. They actually left it so that you could we had a lot of options for our paint because we could see what color they painted the wall, but they also just left just enough of the previous 3 colors of paint on the wall. So we gave a little sample up there, like, it used to be purple. I wonder what the room would look like. There's not a lot of attention to detail in the finishing anything really, any of the jobs. A lot of half of our windows upstairs just they weren't framed. They just put them in, and there was just no
glass
trim. They weren't
against it.
Yeah, there was no that were framed. There was no trim around the window. No, just
it was just painted windows on a wall like in Roadrunner.
Basically. So I'm like, I guess we should put trim on the windows. I don't know why that's not here, but okay. So yeah.
I moved into a house, our first house, and I walked into the living room. It was a little Cape Cod, and I walked in. I was like, man, it's pretty dark in this living room. There was just a big picture window in the front, and then we're going around, and I walked around the side of the house, and there was an awning and a big window. And I'm like, there's no window inside the living room. They had paneled over the whole wall, paneled over the window and everything. What are you doing?
This house too. It was in the basement too, where you want even a modicum of a clue that you exist in the world of men.
Right.
And I walked around the house, and sure enough, they had drywalled over the windows. Like,
Oh
I
my
don't know
God.
if it, like maybe something's haunted. Don't know. Haven't found out yet, but been here long enough.
Wow. What was
But
going on in that basement?
It was very strange. And like they put white carpeting in the basement, and I'm like, yeah, like you do.
Sure, because the basement is where you're really never tracking in dirt or anything.
Well, that's why we bought the house had sat vacant for 3 years, and we went in and we're like, white carpet. And I'm like, hey, wait a minute, it's still white. Like, all right, I trust the sewer system here.
Yeah, that's true. You're not flooding, so that's good. Well, in this house, in the next to the fireplace, I didn't realize this because our lots are very close together. And so I'd never been like, I can't really get down that side of the house because there's a fence. But I was looking from the front and I'm looking, I go, hey, there's some glass block window there. And it's just like a line of decorative glass block. Not anymore. They had drywalled over. They finished the whole inside on the two sides of the fireplace. I'm like, well, I guess we're never going to have glass block, and that's fine. But I don't know why people cover up windows and lighting sources. They just
That's so strange. You can't buy that.
No. It's like when you look at some bungalows and they're like, oh, yeah, we ripped out all the stained glass windows. Why? What? Huh? That's part of the charm.
My house upstairs, and like I know painting everything white is the thing. People like to paint stuff white. Plenty of fireplaces and brick fireplaces are painted white. But I've got this beautiful fireplace downstairs. You can see in our garage where the back is, and it's real brick. And then you go upstairs to like the office area. It's not real brick. It is real brick painted in probably 4 coats of white lead paint. And I just
lead paint?
I like colored bricks. I think bricks are pretty. I don't think they need to be white, but that's the thing you can never undo. Once the brick is painted, you don't unpaint a brick,
Well, you can paint it black and complete the ritual.
Ooh, wow.
Yeah. Didn't think about that, did you?
No.
Oh, is that what you did when you pulled out the white carpet?
Yeah, we pulled that right out.
You just went dungeon down there?
No, I should have just painted a rug on the floor. That way the cat could yak on it, because cats only do that on the rugs. We're like, fooled you, cat.
See, and dogs only poop on the rug and pee on the rug. But
why'd we get hardwood if the cat's not going to barf on it?
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. Why
Well,
would you do
these,
something like that?
Look at all these home improvement ideas you have, Brian. You got spring break. You can just sit around doing home improvement for the next
it's going to take me all the spring break to get this piece off the toilet.
Well,
but what are you going to do? So
okay.
Cody had something, John. Cody had something. He came in, he was all hot and bothered. He had something he needed to talk about.
Well, no, I got a PSA. So when there's a tornado warning, get the hell in your basement. Now this sounds obvious. We had a extreme wind warning out here in Lombard the other day. It was 90-mile-an-hour winds. It was Friday. And I didn't think much of it. And so my son in his bedroom upstairs, he's got this bunk bed with a staircase on one side. So he's got basically a casing around him. So let's say in some crazy scenario, the window blasted in. It couldn't touch him, was my thinking. And this didn't happen, right? Don't worry. My thinking, it's like, all right, well, the window's probably not going to smash in. He could be safe. Maybe we'll be not super conservative with that. Well, that was until I saw a house of some people in my family. It's not my business to air, but I have some family in Rockford. In their house, their entire neighborhood was completely obliterated.
Have they confirmed that it was a tornado, or was it just straight line winds?
They just sent out drones. There were drones flying above it yesterday to assess the damage, and they had helicopters and news copters and stuff. But you can see the trees in the neighborhood are all pointing different directions. Whoa. So one is totally uprooted going this way. You go up the hill 50 feet and it's pointed the other way, and it's nuts. But if you go and you look at the roof of this house, so they went upstairs after my family members went upstairs after they were stuck in the basement. They look, and there's a chunk of tree, probably 3 feet, sticking right through their ceiling. Yee. So that's bad. But when you go upstairs, what's really remarkable is they've got the long part of the house. It's a split level, so one part's fine with the two levels is fine, but the one with the middle level not fine. You can see where they tarped up the big hole in the roof, where basically a tree just flew into the roof, but it doesn't actually reach the edge of the roof. Like it doesn't go to the very end. It's in the middle, which means that an entire tree, like a 30-foot long tree, was launched into the air and flew into it like a missile, and just landed square in there. And after seeing that, now I know I got trees in my backyard. I'm like, shoot, a tree could shoot through the wall of any wall of my house like a missile. And it doesn't matter what side of the bunk bed he's on. It could shoot right through the bunk bed and, do something really harmful. So it's a PSA that these things are no joke. And like, I know it's obvious, but when you've seen the damage, they've got probably a half-acre backyard, full half-acre, just the backyard, not the property. It is entirely covered with dead trees. Most from the neighbor's yard or from the neighbor's 2 houses over. There is a neighbor who the roof of their garage, you could see it's in a pile, just like sitting there. It's on the other side of the house from the garage. So the entire roof blew off and just came over. And I'm saying stuff that everybody that's ever heard anything about a tornado has heard, but I don't know, man. What's the craziest thing is I'm driving into town to check it out the other day. And I get to town and I'm driving. No damage. It literally hit like 8 houses. It was like a tornado just blasted down in the middle of Rockford, like in the middle, right next to a middle school in a residential neighborhood. Nothing around it is touched. So it was awful. It was horrible. They're doing tree cleanup, but like, every house that had privacy because they had a line of trees blasted down. All the fences blasted down. I mean, it's just like you just open up the whole thing. So, PSA, not to get too serious, but dude,
wow.
Even my wife has done tree work before. She worked for a tree company a couple of years ago.
She was a lumberjack.
She was a lumberjack. Yeah, she still got those suspenders,
and she's okay.
I think are great. Yeah, it's pretty okay.
Thank you, John.
She sleeps all night though. But it's the weirdest thing. But she's seen disasters.
Does she work all day then?
She does. She does. When you see a disaster zone that you like grew up in and like the neighborhood, like that's different. It's just like,
what does she do after she eats her lunch? I'm just curious.
Oh, what does she do?
This is the most I've ever heard this song without getting a some more afterwards. I mean, yeah, Cody, that stuff's freaky. I think that's why
man.
Rosemont had the right idea. Pave everything.
Yeah, trees are for the birds. Literally, you don't need them. You don't need them in your yard. You just leave them in a forest preserve or a park. It was bad. It was Friday. We got pretty lucky. In my neighborhood, I don't know how it was. How was it in your neighborhood, John?
Kind of shockingly dry. My buddy up in Highland Park got like inches of rain.
Yeah. It just like we had a couple bursts because I was on in Milwaukee and we were doing wall to wall coverage because there was tornado warnings. There were, they were setting down in Delavan and Elkhorn and stuff. So we were talking and all of a sudden I hear the window getting pelted and I'm like, oh no, here it comes. And then it stopped. And that was basically it. See, that's what you get for living out in the burbs, Cody. A lot of open land.
Is it crazy? God
to just pelt you.
Punch.
Yeah, dude.
He can see you. Here we're all grouped together. He can't differentiate.
It was just like my buddy, my other friend John that I used to do my video game podcast with is in Minneapolis, and he got 10 inches of snow. He said it's the 5th snowiest winter on record for Minneapolis or for Minnesota, I guess, which is already
that's a leaderboard too, man.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah. So he also lost a tree and a half up there. But it's so crazy how close people can live to each other and just like one place is just ravaged or, and other ones are good. Some people are dry. It never snows out here. It never snows in Lombard. And we got like 3 inches like cum all winter combined this year. Lombard,
it didn't snow hardly anywhere this year, Cody. But
was it
just Lombard?
No, there was snow in Chicago or like snow in Rockford. My friends in Rockford were texting me all the time. Oh, you're like 4 inches out here. And I'd just be looking around. I'm like looking out to the west.
I don't think they were talking about the snow.
Oh,
that's right. It's late. I'll go blue. I go blue after 9:30, John.
It's a family-friendly podcast, bro.
Is it? All I said was they weren't. If you filthy-minded animals took that somewhere else, they could have been talking about anything. Could have a small submarine sandwich, maybe a gym shoe. You know, who knows? I don't know
Well,
what you
Some
guys
sort
are
of
talking
choking hazard.
Well,
Sure.
after
Sometimes you try
one,
to fit too much in. That's all. Be careful. All right, listen. It's late. We've kept John. He's ill. John has COVID. He's not well.
I'm just rattling with consumption.
He's rattling. He's got the consumption. He's got the. He's like Doc Holliday. He's gonna be coughing up big. He's a lunger. He's gonna be hacking up big things of blood before we let him go. But before we wrap it up, I want to congratulate you again, sincerely. You were fantastic on Chopped. If you get a chance, if it's rerun, watch it. I don't think we spoiled it. It's a lot of fun. It's very, very exciting. We at the Noonan house, as we watched it, we're very proud of you. So
Thank you.
congratulations.
It was a blast, and I'm glad I don't have to do it again anytime soon.
Yes, and it made us if nothing else, the four of you made us really appreciate and desire good pizza.
It was the world's finest food.
All right. Nachos and Lager on Twitter and Instagram, Crust Fund Pizza. Follow John's socials. Find out about Crust Fund. Every pizza you're given to a charity. That's it.
Yes.
You want a pizza? Give some money to a charity. If you win the bid, you get a pizza. That's how it works. You know, it's a win-win for everybody. And then we'll talk to you again about your day job too. We'll do some beer talk another time. But Cody, anything else before we get out of here?
that was it.
All right, I'm out. Thank
Good
you,
talking to you guys.
Thank you, John, for
You too,
being
John.
here. It was a pleasure. Thanks to you guys for listening, for watching, for sharing and liking, and all the other stuff that goes along with social media and podcasts. And that's it. Cody?
Bye.